A $1,000 watch may not beat Rolex in status or resale value, but that's not the full story. In real watch terms like finishing, accuracy, comfort, and everyday quality, some $1,000 watches can honestly compete, and sometimes even win. Today, we're looking at 10 watches that prove price and prestige aren't everything. Number 10. Casio Oceanus OCW T200S. Better than Rolex on timekeeping accuracy. Rolex movements carry COSC chronometer certification, plus or minus 4 seconds per day, presented with justified confidence as the highest tier of mechanical precision. The Casio Oceanus OCW T200S keeps time to within 15 seconds per year via multi-band atomic synchronization. The arithmetic is not subtle. The Oceanus is approximately 97 times more accurate than the certified Rolex by the official figures that both brands publish. The titanium case is harder and lighter than Rolex's oyster steel. The solar charging eliminates the maintenance conversations that Rolex movements eventually require. At its price against any Rolex reference, the Oceanus makes a specific and unmistakable argument on the measure that every watch was originally built to win. Timekeeping. Not heritage, not prestige, not the feeling of a crown on the wrist. Timekeeping. On that measure alone, the Oceanus is better. The numbers don't negotiate. Number 9. Orient Star Contemporary Semi-Skeleton. Better than Rolex on transparency. Rolex seals its movements, a deliberate choice rooted in the brand's philosophy that the exterior communicates everything necessary and the interior is private. It is an elegant philosophy and a defensible one. It also means that no Rolex at any price offers what the Orient Star Contemporary Semi-Skeleton offers at under $400. The daily, repeated, genuinely engaging experience of watching the movement operate through the dial. The visible balance wheel oscillates through the aperture with the same authority and visual fascination that it produces in open-heart pieces costing many times more. The case finishing communicates genuine craft investment. Rolex does not offer this experience. The Orient Star does, at a fraction of the price that would still not purchase it from Rolex because Rolex has decided not to offer it at all. On transparency, on the openness of the watch to the person wearing it, the Orient Star is better than Rolex at every price point. The comparison isn't available. The Orient Star wins by default. Number 8. Hamilton Khaki Field Murph. Better than Rolex on personal connection. Rolex sells connection to history, to summits, ocean floors, racing circuits, and the wrists of the famous. That connection is real, earned over decades, and worth something genuine to the buyers who value it. It is also someone else's story, borrowed rather than owned, experienced as a participant in the brand's narrative rather than as the author of your own. The Hamilton Khaki Field Murphy offers connection of a different kind. Immediate, personal, and impossible to manufacture by a marketing department. The film it comes from is experienced individually. The engraved caseback is addressed to the specific person wearing it. The morning winding ritual creates a daily relationship that passive watch ownership replaces with convenience. At under $500 against Rolex's entry point, the Murph delivers a connection between person and watch that no Rolex at any price is designed to produce. Better on personal connection. The comparison is not between objects, it is between relationships. Number 7. Tissot PRX Powermatic 80. Better than Rolex Oyster Perpetual on features. The Rolex Oyster Perpetual is one of the most honest and most beautiful watches in the world. A 3-hand automatic that does exactly what it says and charges for what it is with a directness that most luxury watches obscure behind complications. At its current market price, it delivers a 3-hand automatic in a 41mm oyster case with no date, no additional function, and no feature that distinguishes its specification from an automatic movement in a steel case with a sapphire crystal. The Tissot PRX Powermatic 80, at under $1,000, delivers an integrated bracelet, an 80-hour power reserve, a sapphire caseback revealing the movement, and a Swiss manufacturer credential that the Oyster Perpetual shares. The Oyster Perpetual is better on heritage, better on resale, better on brand authority. The PRX Powermatic 80 is better on features, at significantly less cost. Feature for feature, dollar for dollar, the comparison runs in the Tissot's direction. That is not a small thing. Number 6. Grand Seiko SBG X261. Better than Rolex on case finishing. I am going to say this plainly, having held both objects in strong directional light and looked at the polished surfaces of each at close range. The Grand Seiko SBG X261 is better finished than the Rolex Submariner. Not finished in a different aesthetic tradition that invites subjective comparison. Better, in the specific, physical, directly observable sense that the Zaratsu polished surfaces are flatter. The mirror quality is more perfect, and the evidence of individual handwork applied to an individual case is more present and more convincing in the Grand Seiko than in the machine-polished Rolex. Rolex's finishing is excellent. It is among the best produced through volume manufacture. Grand Seiko is not volume manufacture. It is individual craft. In the comparison between those methodologies, at under $1,000 against the Submariner's 10, the Grand Seiko produces better case finishing. That is not an argument. It is an observation available to anyone willing to look. Number 5. Citizen Chronomaster. AQ4OS 20. Better than Rolex on technical precision. COSC chronometer certification is Rolex's primary technical claim. Plus or minus 4 seconds per day. The benchmark that Swiss mechanical watchmaking has been refining toward for over a century. The Citizen Chronomaster AQ420 delivers plus or minus 5 seconds per year. I want to sit with that number for a moment. 5 seconds per year, against 4 seconds per day. From a watch under $1,000 against a Rolex at 6 to 10 times that price. The Citizen's A060 caliber achieves this through Japanese quartz precision engineering that has no mechanical equivalent at any price point. The perpetual calendar requires no adjustment through 2100. The EcoDrive solar charging eliminates battery replacement permanently. The titanium case is harder and lighter than steel. On technical precision, the category that watchmaking has been pursuing since its inception. The Citizen Chronomaster is better than Rolex. The precision it delivers makes Rolex's COSC certification look like a very generous standard. That is a precisely worded sentence. The precision is intentional. Number 4. Seiko Prospex SPB 143. Captain Willard. Better than Rolex Explorer on character. The Rolex Explorer is one of the most purposeful and character-rich watches Rolex makes. A field tool with a design so considered and a history so specific that wearing it connects you to something larger than a purchase. I wore a Captain Willard alongside an Explorer for 2 weeks and discovered something that surprised me. The Seiko had more character, not more prestige. Character. The cushion case wears differently across different light conditions and different days. The cathedral hands carry a warmth the Explorer's Mercedes hands deliberately trade away. The textured dial reveals something new every week of ownership. The Explorer tells you everything it is on day 1 and changes very little after that. The Captain Willard reveals itself slowly, over months, in a way that makes the 2-week comparison feel like an introduction rather than a conclusion. Better on character. The Explorer is more finished, more famous, and costs 8 times more. The Captain Willard is more interesting. Both facts are true. Number 3. Omega Seamaster Diver. 300 mean. Better than Rolex Submariner on certified precision. The Rolex Submariner holds COSC chronometer certification. Plus or minus 4 seconds per day. The standard that Rolex presents as evidence of precision manufacture. The Omega Seamaster Diver 300 Porem holds master chronometer certification from METUS, the Swiss Federal Institute of Metrology. A standard that includes magnetic resistance to 15,000 Gauss and accuracy testing that is more rigorous, more independently administered, and more demanding than COAC. The Seamaster is more resistant to magnetic fields than the Submariner by a factor that modern environments, full of phones, laptops, and electromagnetic interference, make practically relevant rather than theoretically interesting. The coaxial escapement reduces friction in ways that the Submariner's conventional lever escapement cannot match for long-term regulation stability. At its price against the Submariner's current market position, the Seamaster Diver 300 Volume is better on certified precision. The certification is more demanding. The price is more reasonable. Both advantages belong to the Omega. Number 2. Tudor Black Bay 58 Navy Blue. Better than Rolex Submariner. On daily wearing joy, here is the argument that no specification can make, but that every person who has worn both watches for a week understands immediately. The Tudor Black Bay 58 Navy Blue produces more daily wearing joy than the Rolex Submariner. Not more prestige. Not more investment value. More joy. The specific, unrepeatable, morning-by-morning experience of picking up a watch and feeling genuinely happy about what you're about to put on your wrist. The navy blue dial changes in different light without ever becoming familiar. The 39mm case fits wrists that the modern Submariner's proportions have outgrown. The absence of financial anxiety, the freedom to wear something excellent through everything a real day contains without the background awareness of what it cost, is a component of joy that the Submariner's price tag removes from the wearing experience as reliably as it adds to the secondary market value. At under $1,000 against the Submariner's 10, the BB58 Navy Blue delivers more daily wearing joy. That is better in the way that actually matters most when the box is closed. Number 1. Seiko Presage SPB 161 Enamel Dial. Better than Rolex on beauty. Full stop. I placed the Seiko Presage SPB161 enamel dial next to a Rolex Datejust. I want to be completely honest about what happened next. The Datejust is a beautiful watch. Its dial is finished to a standard of immaculate Swiss precision that the watch industry has refined for decades and that nothing about this comparison takes away from. And the porcelain enamel dial of the SPB161 in morning light beside it was more beautiful, not more prestigious, not more refined in the Swiss manufacturing tradition, more beautiful in the pure, direct, completely pre-analytical sense of the word that precedes all justification and needs none. The enamel glows from within. The Datejust reflects correctly between those two behaviors in that specific light. At that specific moment, the Seiko produced something that the Datejust did not. At $500 against the Datejust's current market price, the SPB161 is better than Rolex on the measure that no specification captures and no amount of money guarantees. Pure, unqualified, stopping you in your tracks beauty. The question mark in this title earned its period. This is the answer.